All righty, everyone. All righty. How are you? I hope you all are doing well today. This is Papa Dukes of the OG Social Network podcast. And before we dive right in, I just want to show some love to the people who made this night possible. None of this can happen without community, without partnership, without the people who believe in the vision. So first off, I want to thank Sohan Bashar of Silk Road. He is the owner of a great dispensary located at 166-30 Jamaica Avenue. He's a great guy. We'll be hosting a special birthday podcast tomorrow at 6 o'clock at the High Function Event Space that's located at Silk Road Dispensary. Same address. I'll be celebrating my 62nd year on this planet, and this is like really wild because this planet's going through hell on earth, if you want to get my drift there. But I also want to say that Silk Road is a gem right here in Jamaica, Queens. I'm honored to celebrate there, and thank you so much, my brother. I want to thank Produce 420, Don and David Morris, their support and the culture, elevating the conversation around cannabis, around technology, around business. I love those guys. Jadestone Cannabis Branding. Shout out to the creatives building brand that matter in this space. The Dowleys are amazing. Earl and Katie Dowley is just an amazing couple. But Katie is the owner and CEO of Jadestone Cannabis Branding, and she is coming out with some great ways to help you with your brands. Green Spectrum, Surfside, and Wepa Distribution. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you holding it down for the community. And of course, special shout out to Dr. Joan Cartwright, author, educator, icon. Thank you, always inspiring to think deeper and do better. And my dear lifelong friend, Sean Gant of, I'm so sorry, Sean Gant's a dear friend of mine. He's got a great business down there. And I just want to give him some love. He's one of those private donors and people that, and friend for 35 years, so I just got to tell you, he is amazing. It is a beautiful day. We are doing part 2 of this interview, and I'm going to introduce again Reverend Gerlyn Henry. It was kind of weird last time we spoke. She had to get off because she, needed to take care of another event, and that was fine. But Reverend Gerlyn Henry is an Anglican priest of the Diocese of Toronto and serves as the rector of the Holy Wisdom, and has cultivated a presence both in parish life and in social media. Reverend Henry holds a Master of Divinity from the Columbia Seminary. And, sorry about that, guys, from Columbia Seminary. And when I do this, I get kind of a little nervous because using the prompt is, it's really crazy. It's really crazy. From the Columbia Seminary, an undergraduate degree in social work, and works at a local parish formed from 3 historic congregations during the pandemic. She also brings a deeply rooted heritage into her ministry of Indian origin and immigrant to Canada, bringing across cultural insight to her understanding of God's movement among us. Her ministry is formed by exploring what faithfulness looks like when shaped by marginality and inclusion. I want to say, let me add her to the stage. Can I get you there? How are you?
I'm good.
How are you?
Thank you so much for having me back after last time's debacle.
Glad to be. Hey, I don't hold it against you at all. I think that, life is lifing, things happen. I was kind of like, is you going to call me back? And you did. And it was so cool. We spoke on to get right to it, and we have time, I hope. I want to first tell everyone I don't have a moderator. So it's going to be very hard for me to, if you have any questions or concerns, you do have the link. You can come straight on StreamYard and we can do it from here. It's very complicated to do multiple screens, try to talk to people, get them to ask questions. So the link is in my bio, and all you have to do is search StreamYard. It's on there, for crying out loud. You guys know where I'm at. Okay. So, but I will be able to in the future get that right for you. In the meantime, the last time we spoke, we were talking about youth in the church. Reverend Henry, is it Reverend Gerlyn or Reverend Henry? Reverend Gerlyn?
Yeah, it's like Germany, Berlin, Gerlyn.
Oh, Gerlyn. You see, I
Yeah.
Gerlyn, Gerlyn, like she from the South, y'all. You know, from Mississippi and shit. I need to stop. Okay, really. All right. So, we spoke on youth
Mm,
and and their um, faith in current religion, everything, and where we left off was where do you think the church has struggled to connect with younger generations?
okay.
So I would like for you to know first introduce yourself again and
Okay.
let everybody know who you are, and then from there we'll get to that question. Go right ahead, please.
Okay. That's a really good bio. Thank you.
Yeah, no
As
worries.
Papa Duke said, my name is Gerlyn. I live in Toronto, Scarborough, and I'm an Anglican priest. So
Mhm,
one of the older churches. We were one of the first churches to break away from the Catholic Church, and our parent is like the Church of England, which you may have heard about.
mhm,
Young people. Where has the church really struggled with young people? I think over the years, the church has gotten so comfortable in just being like part of the culture, right? That of course it's Sunday morning, you'll go to church. And so like we I think leaned too far into everybody will always come. And where we I think began to lose young people is
mhm,
in the church's own lack of honesty and like its own hypocrisy. Like some of the great evils that we saw in the world came out of like the cross, came out of pretending like we have all the answers and we know exactly what God is telling the world, like transatlantic slavery. A lot of what's happening in Palestine is backed by Christian voices, and I think
mhm.
our young people are seeing like the hypocrisy and recognizing like this isn't what I was taught as a kid, to love all people. Why are you chasing away immigrants? Why are you not welcoming in people who are fleeing for their lives? I think so, like our own hypocrisy. We lost a lot of kids there and young people there. And relevance. I think when we became so comfortable, we stopped in some ways trying to be relevant in the world, like with technology, for example, or with like competing priorities on Sundays. It was always like Sunday mornings is church. We're not going to change whether you come or not. I think that's created a divide.
What do you think? What can you do to think to get young people to come back to the church?
I think be more honest about our failures, be more honest
Mhm.
about like where we fall short. One of like the great prayers we pray every Sunday is recognizing like what I've done and left undone, and just acknowledging like,
Mm,
oh, we failed in that way. Take accountability and stop kind of hiding the sins of the church, especially when it comes to children and inappropriate behavior, and
mm.
creating safe space. Like tell folks like this is safe for all people, and then name what all people means. And I think they'll come back.
Well, I know I talk to my daughters about religion, and they're highly universally cosmic. They don't like
Mm,
man's religion,
okay.
right? They look towards a higher a higher source, I think, and
Mhm.
they're introducing me to a lot as well. The Akashi records, other Book of Enoch. They want to read. They're reading up. I was shocked. Okay, that was like finding out your daughter was a rocket science. You crazy? I did not know you. Really? Oh, let me go get the uranium. Um, but do you feel youth today are fighting against the theology, the ideology of Christianity, that because they see too many holes. It just doesn't make sense. When I was eight, I was in Sunday school,
Mhm.
and was asked not to come back. I had too many questions. Yeah, I was asked not to come back. So for many, these kids are very smart. They don't want to feel like they're being mind controlled. So do you see a lot? Do you see a lot of that pushback on the ideology by you?
That's a great question, and I'm like partly sad to hear just how like pervasive that senses that church doesn't welcome questions. But I think like I want to say progressive or like mainline churches, they're all about curiosity. And like the ancient church was never the one to have the answers. It was never meant to be like this great hierarchy. It was always in conversation. So like you bring your doubts and we wrestle about who God is together, then we come to something we agree on. So like yes, I think young people push against the dogma of the church, like the structures that are so rigid. And I think in doing so, like it calls the church to like in some ways repentance. But the way like we do church, like here in Toronto, here in Scarborough, like at least in my parish, it's very, very collaborative. It's all about bring your doubts, bring your questions, and like let's figure out who Jesus is together because none of us really know exactly. And I think that creates a good and safe space. I'm so sad to hear that your Sunday school teacher said like you can't come back because you have too many questions. To
Well,
have
yeah. Well, this was like in the 70s. Okay. This was in the 70s. Oh, sorry about that. And um, there was no pushback. You either listened or you weren't a part of the team. Okay. Highly conformative society. Ridicule was the norm. Bullying was the norm. Unless you stand on your 10 toes, um, which I learned late in life, people were just going to roll over you.
Mm,
So my mom uh, realized she wasn't religious; she was spiritual.
mm,
You understand? And so although I was baptized, my both my grandmothers made sure of that. But my mother's generation is the first revolutionary generation against conformity, against
mm.
you know, um, the 60s, if you're familiar with the
Yeah.
history, right? So um, it's for me. I think that was a blessing. That was telling me you don't have an open mind. We have to figure out. Because I always ask, well, if God created us, who created God?
Mm,
You see, there has to be some creation happening here. So who created God? And if you can't answer that, you can't answer the rest of the questions I need to know.
mm.
Right? So I would go out and play while the kids were stuck in Sunday school. So for me, that was a great day. How do social media activism, global awareness shape how youth engage faith?
I think social media, like one of the great gifts is that it's disruptive and it's disruptive in this really spirit led creative way. Young people are no longer only receiving theology from like the pulpit or the pew where they may not already be, but they're like encountering it alongside other things they're interested in online. So the algorithm shows them like racial justice right alongside like racial theology, right alongside climate change and like fun, quirky fit checks. Like
Hmm.
there's this one sign I saw in like in a what do you call it, a pride parade, and it said Jesus had two dads, and like it became popular because of social media. This idea that like, oh yeah, Jesus had a heavenly father and like a real father. What does this even mean? I think it's disruptive, at the base level, and in that disruption, there's something really holy.
Hmm. Um, that is so deep. Yeah. I saw your recent Instagram talking about Christianity, ancient Christianity, how it was very inclusive.
Yeah.
Elaborate more on that for those that didn't see it, because I
Okay.
thought that was amazing. Because it's like we start off as a very inclusive, beautiful group of people, and history has flipped it. So please explain.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you. The ancient like theologians, ancient churches, and churches that kind of have been around for centuries and decades, like they have this understanding that they are part of the world. This is like where God has placed us. And so like a lot of the theology that comes out of traditional churches like Anglicans, Lutherans, it comes from a place of servitude that the church is here to serve the neighborhood. And so all are welcome in. And there's like a preferential option for the poor and the out. But as the church developed and was given power, when church became like the state religion, and when church received all of this money and all of this funding and the monarchy, I think we forgot that we were meant to be servants of our neighborhood. And
Mm-hmm.
instead we became like rulers of our world. And so like
Mm-hmm.
we developed this sense of like superiority that, and there's this like really cool phrase is when the evangelists went to like Africa, like the whole continent, they kept saying like Jesus is the answer. And there was this one person who like kind of pushed back and said, but is Jesus the answer to the questions that Africa is asking, which is about
Mm-hmm.
hunger and poverty and justice? And so like the church, I think in some ways has lost its servant servant attitude in today's church. But the mainline churches, the traditional churches, the ancient churches, they never lost that vision of justice and of inclusion. It's just today's voice that's really well funded that says it's all about me and God. It was never about just me and God. It was always about community.
Mm-hmm. I so definitely you feel like the the religion itself was co-opted by the the 1%ers, 10%ers,
Yes.
was able to be used to control the masses because they knew they were outnumbered, what, 100, 200, 1,000 to 1 in some cases. And so now we see the end result where we have a president. First off, can you please pass on to the people of Canada
Okay.
and your neighbors in Greenland? We ain't about all this nonsense. We don't know what's going. We know what's going on, but we aren't a part of this. I can guarantee you, 90% of
Yeah.
Americans really are like, "What are you doing with Venezuela, with Canada, and now with Greenland? What are you doing?" Our Congress is sitting on their thumbs, and they have the power to stop him. But I have a feeling we're getting there. But I just wanted to give a sincere apology to our neighbors and loved ones and friends and cousins. Yo, we ain't about this. We apologize. Please, we're not going there. I guarantee you, if shit pops off, we will suffer for it, not as a nation, but the government will. We're
Mm,
going to get the right leadership back to get our relationships back with all of you. So just pray on that for me. How about that? Okay. Because
absolutely.
this is ridiculous. This is like, we're a highly civilized nation compared to just 100 years ago.
Mhm.
Okay. And for us to be going through this black and brown, white, blah, 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 all that. I've always been, you ever, when you were a kid, y'all would pick teams to play,
Mhm.
right? Right. And you always pick the best ones first,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Well, I was the guy that picked the guy in the wheelchair. All
Mm,
right. I picked the disabled people. I didn't care. I just wanted to go have fun. Winning wasn't everything.
right.
And that it's better to be inclusive and not only that, I had gained a level of respect for the first time. I never knew what it was, and maintain that. I'm pretty loyal to people, so I don't have a problem with that until I'm an Aquarius too. I'll detach from you, so don't fuck with me. Excuse my language. Um, oh damn, I said I wasn't gonna curse. Darn
Oh,
it.
it's okay.
I did shark dark, you know.
I
But
curse. Lots of priests curse.
oh no. We have to maintain a sense of modicum in front of
Yeah.
the class, everyone.
Got
But
it.
at the same time, we can get off here and be like, yo, this mother, I'm saying, what's up? Anyway, if the church were to listen more closely to youth, what might need to be changed within the
Mm,
church?
I think it's a good question. Again, I think the church needs to shift from speaking at young people to like
Hmm.
listening with them. Like that means taking their experience seriously, especially like of those who are young and queer, marginalized, people of color, economically insecure. Like
Hmm.
those who've been wounded by the church, like listen to their experience. And I think we need to kind of loosen our grips and rediscover our humility. Because, like I was saying earlier, we started off as a servant church, and young people are asking for authenticity. They're not asking for perfection, they're asking for participation and not for like patronizing them.
Right. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead, please.
Okay. They want a church that like embodies justice, that practices the repentance that like we say in the liturgy. Because if we truly listen to young people, I think there's this well of wisdom. We find that like the Holy Spirit's already working in them, that, and through them, they're calling the church to renewal and to change. It's the young people who are, I think, brave enough to ask the questions that will lead to a revival in the church.
Okay. Well, I did a poll,
Okay.
right? But I forgot to put it up because I wanted to show you.
Okay.
75% of people would prefer to have a religious leader be a female
Hmm.
than a male now.
Interesting.
And most would prefer to have a woman of color or LGBTQ for some reason. That came
Hmm.
up really hard because of the honesty and sincerity. The parameters were honesty, sincerity, communication, outreach, um, uh, education, and it was like 78% women. They would prefer to go to a and most that don't even go to church
Ah.
would go because they feel a motherly love,
Hmm.
a protection. I had to call a couple of people because they left some long, like,
Ah.
yo, what are you saying? And three of them, literally the same thing, said it's a motherly or
Hmm.
a maternal protection. It's like more real than coming from a paternal voice. The spirit sounds more real when coming from a maternal voice as
Hmm.
opposed to a paternal voice.
Interesting.
So I've never really. I'm pretty sure there are, and those that know what they're doing. I'm not putting those people that are like out there, I'm like, yo, you just got a Bible and you know. Do you know the Bible? Have you studied it? Do you
Right.
understand it? Did you go to school for it?
Yeah.
Just you're not, oh, you just got one and now you starting a church in a mall, shopping mall somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
I'm talking about legitimate pastors, ministers, preachers, um, people that have studied hard, that went into it. Yeah, everyone wants a female. Excuse me, they want a female voice. They want a woman to be preaching the word of God because they feel y'all are closer to God or I say the source.
Hmm.
Okay, this is my belief. I'm not, and this is years and years and years and years. I do unto others. I love people. If I get bad, negative, toxic, I walk away.
Hmm.
I'm touched. I'm in defense mode, but I'm always making sure we both walk away in peace.
Hmm.
That's as easy as I come to it. And Jesus, I know, made it as simple as possible for people to understand because they weren't that literate back in the day.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So,
There's,
go ahead,
there's like two
go.
things that what you said just makes me think about. One is that statistics, especially in the US, are showing that more young conservative men are going back to church. And I think like they're going back to church because they see the church as like this powerful place where like the patriarchy will be lifted. But from like your statistics, it seems like those who are really yearning for safe spaces in church are leaning like women of color. But those who are
Yeah,
looking for power in the church are our young white.
I'm looking for, yeah, right. And what's so sad is that they're misguided.
Yeah.
Their motivation is through fear. It's 400 years of this shit. Excuse my language. Damn it. Gosh darn it. It's, it's 400 years
Yeah.
of this mental conditioning of being told that you are better than them and
Right.
don't let them take that and not realizing you're a very small, minuscule minute of a part of a human history.
Yeah.
And for you to think that you're better than everyone that has been around for thousands of years and you've only been around for so many, I'm talking about the
Mm.
country, couple of hundred. It's hubris at best. Um, and what the problem we have with white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, it's white racism, it's white supremacy here, right?
Absolutely.
And many people that are like ICE, for example. ICE is ICE has people who were bullied or were bullies, people that have low intellectual academic skills, social skills, people that can't pass a physical test if you tried, and want to have a superiority complex.
Mm.
Okay, and so reason why I stay away from Christian American Christians and Christian conservatives is because I don't even conversate. I don't debate with stupid. So what the problem is that they need to understand, they want us to solve the problem of racism when in fact that's your problem. You need to leave us alone. That's our message this year. So we, again, the mass majority of people want to see their religious doctrine being spoken to by women.
Yeah.
All right, because you have a closer nature, I believe, to God. Men are too close to God, but we kind of earthbound, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's not bad either. I firmly believe our souls are brought here to learn something, to experience something. I don't know what it is. I have no clue. I'm at the I'm walking into my golden years,
Yeah.
right? And so mortality is hitting me hard.
Uh,
I'm going to bed at night now thinking, where will I be after this? You see, what is it that I can is I hope it's not darkness. I would love to be able to go someplace where there's light and a field and some weed,
yeah.
to sit back and chill and be with around those that were experience that life. I hope that's great. If not, no big deal. I had fun. That's where I'm at. But I am shocked at how the world is becoming through the actions of one person.
Yeah.
One person. How are you all dealing with that up there?
You know, I think in the first term that Trump was elected, we saw this like unveiling of like racism in the US. And I think it was in some ways a gift, right? We were able to recognize like, oh yeah, like all these years when people in the US said, oh, there's no racism here, there's no misogyny here, it kind of unveiled like, yeah, the US has like really deep rooted racism and like really deep rooted misogyny.
Oh my God. Have
So
you ever, I want you to do me a favor, not to cut you off, and I want to say you need
okay.
to get this book called Black History AF. I don't want to curse again.
Okay.
Black History AF. Now, all of that information I read as a child.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, but go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, I mean, people of color have always known this, have always said, like, yes, there's racism. And it's like the majority, the white folk, the people who are new to reckoning and being like aware of their world. It was them who was saying, like, no, like the US is great, equal opportunity for all. So I think back then it almost felt like a gift in some ways that, okay, we're unveiling this racism and everybody will see it, will have to reckon with it. But the second election, right, the fact that he came up a second time, I think has left Canada and lots of Canadians feeling both demoralized in almost seeing like, wait, you had an opportunity to have a glimpse of this and to see the fallout of that. And within like moments of him coming into office second time, an office that you anticipated. And it was, I think, in some ways very self-preserving that like, oh yeah, Trump won't come after me. I am not poor. I am not an immigrant. I am not a woman. And then you see like one by one, like everybody is at the risk of being targeted by this administration. And I think finally people are coming to recognize like, oh, I may have made a mistake. And I think there's in Canada, there's some demoralization, there's some anger towards the US for sure. But in the protests, in the resistance, I think Canada also recognizes that there's hope, that this isn't the end. Yes, it's only been 8 months and there's already been so much turmoil, but right alongside the anger, there's some hope that the people of the US won't let this happen for the next 3 years.
Well, I'm going to tell you, yes, there is hope. It's called the midterms. All
Hmm.
right. And what we're going to do is we're going to mobilize and organize, mobilize and push out we're going to push out politicians that accept APAC money. We're
Mm.
going to push politicians that excuse Trump for and his administration that support him. We're going to push for getting the Congress back, which is the House of Representatives and the Senate. The Senate is already like, yo, we're not passing any more bills. We're not doing anything. We're done. We're not going to war. They're even thinking about impeaching him themselves.
Mm.
All right. So what we need to understand is that, and people need to understand this. We have the power.
Yes.
All you got to do is stop spending. Think about it. Save your money. Put your money away. Take care of your kids. If your kids want something you can't afford, tell them the truth. My daughters, I got to give them props. I don't know whether it had something to do with my ex-wife, their mom, because she was like hardcore. But whenever they asked me for something, I immediately would be on their level and I would explain, and boom, they'd be like, no problem. They never gave me a tantrum. And all you need to do is talk to your kids, explain to them, let them know that we need to take a step back, take control of our finances, our credit, our lives, reorganize. It's a huge reset. There's a huge reset of wealth already happening between the 1 and 10 percenters. Now we have to do the same thing. Stop spending unnecessary money. Stop buying shit you don't need. God, that's the fourth one. Stop, stop, take control of your willpower, have some willpower. We last year they did a boycott, no shopping for the holidays, whatever. Yet a report came out, they spent more money this year than they did last year.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're going to boycott, do it right, and there are local businesses that have great products and services, maybe a little bit more expensive only because of the situation they're in, but you probably have a better relationship with them as well. And
Yep.
you're supporting your community. Also, anti-corporate ideologies need to go. Labor unions need to come back. Our mayor, Zohran Mamdani, in the first, 18, 19 days, has been kicking butt. He's just,
Yeah.
he has been doing an amazing job, and I'm glad I voted for him. So yeah, I did vote for him. I like, that was the first thing I did that morning. Oh, no, it's not. That's not true. The first thing I did was roll a blunt. Then I went to go vote for him.
Okay.
So I'm a pothead. So I've been smoking. I think I will say this: smoking weed has kept me from catching several cases. So I would say,
Okay.
and prayer, meditation. But getting back to, I want to talk about your trip to Palestine.
Okay.
What was that like? Because you had long flowing hair.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And then you went to that, and then everybody's like, oh, she got that good Puerto Rican hair.
Yeah.
So what happened? Tell us what was going on.
So the Palestine trip was with this organization called Sibyl, and their kind of hope is this ecumenical interaction. So they bring people from around the world to see what's actually happening on the ground in Palestine, so that they can go back and like witness and tell the truth about what they saw. And that's kind of like one of their big ways of existing. So like 10 of the clergy from the Diocese of Toronto went on this trip to bear witness. It was a solidarity pilgrimage. So we're bearing witness to what's happening in Palestine in solidarity for liberation of all people, especially Palestinians. And, it was the first 2 days, it was very, very disorienting because I had boycotted Israel like 10 years ago. And so I've never looked at pictures, never really yearned to see much of it. And so we landed in the side of Jerusalem that is occupied by Israel. And it looks just beautiful. You would be like thinking, why are people in the world angry about the occupation? Like, this is not bad at all. Like, the 8-meter high walls kind of disappear into the background. It wasn't until day 3 that we went from like the Israeli side of Jerusalem to the Palestinian side of Jerusalem. It's wildly different. It went from having perfectly paved roads to really beautiful buildings to unpaved roads and like buildings that don't have access to water and electricity. Like just across like one wall, like maybe 2 feet wide wall. On one side, the Israeli settlers get 24/7 water. Right across this 2 feet wall, Palestinians don't have free access to water. All the water is controlled by Israel, and so they have to like save up their water in water tanks. They're not issued building permits, so the buildings are like in disrepair, or they're built without permits, and like people are nervous that if there's an earthquake, it could just fall because it's an unpermitted building. It, and they have all these signs saying like, "Oh, don't go to Palestinian territories; it's dangerous." And as we were watching, like when standing and looking at one of these signs, one of the Palestinians who was going through a checkpoint, which is a whole other story, like yelled out and said, like, the sign's not true. We're lovely people.
Yeah.
Everything is propaganda there. Everything is propaganda.
Well, talk about, you the w- were you able to go inside?
Yes. So you mean into like the
Yeah,
region?
into Palestine. I mean, it's all Palestine to me as far as I'm concerned, but into Gaza.
Not into.
Where were you? Where were you
We,
exactly?
we were in the West Bank, which is
Okay.
like, so like I think the closest we got to Gaza was this place called Al Kir, which is a 30-minute drive from the Hebron Hills. 30 minutes drive. So like there was this one time we were in the hills meeting with a farming community who was surrounded by settlers with guns. So we were there and I kept hearing this like loud noise, like almost like an earthquake every like 20 minutes. And I had no idea where it's from until I realized there were like these tiny little jet fighter planes flying over us to go to Gaza. And when you looked up, it was like this tiniest little triangle, but the noise was like an earthquake. And so like to be 30 minutes from an open air prison, 30 minutes from Gaza, but not be able to go there and still see the planes that are carrying bombs just right above our heads. It was very disorienting and very painful.
What was the most, I think, I don't want to say, jarring moment. I mean, what really captured, the truth about what's going on over there for you?
I think in two things. One, how easy it is to fall for the propaganda. Like that's one. Like I've been a pro-Palestinian person for like 10 years, more than 10 years. And the first 2 days I was there, like I was a little confused about what this is about. Because when you land in the Israel side of Palestine, like, you'll never know that where the Palestinians are expected to live, is awful. And so most of the people who visit the holy sites when it comes to like Israel, Palestine, they visit only the sites that are really well maintained. And so that was like a really good realization for me that how easily it is for me, who really cares about the cause, to fall for the propaganda. And two, they kept asking for us to tell the story, to come back and tell how like settlers are encroaching, how settlers have access to guns and are freely shooting, how settlers just decide that, okay, this part of land, I want it. And so they just build little caravans. And then a week or two after they land in this random piece of land, Israel gives them a road and water and electricity. It's a strategic overtaking of Palestinian land.
Of course, of course. If you look at a map from
Right?
1948 all the way now, and just do one of those time lapses, it's obvious. The the issue is it goes back almost to the 1800s,
Mm-hmm.
but it's long story short, it's just a form of imperial colonialization.
Absolutely.
None of them, none of uh, these are Ashkenazi Jews from Eastern Europe that were not wanted in Europe
Mm.
after World War II, and uh, we push out one people to bring in another. And for us Americans, we're just now realizing the money alone that we've sent has been astronomical, and that money could have taken care of healthcare, housing, education, everything, and still have plenty left over. In fact, I find that we are in debt because of Israel.
Oh,
And
yeah.
most of the forever wars we've had over the last 50 years is because of Israel. John Kennedy warned us about AIPAC in
Mm.
Israel. Before that, Eisenhower warned us about the industrial um, uh, military-industrial complex and foreign lobbies. These last two presidents. So and Nixon hated the Jews. He hated Israel, but had no choice but to do business because of, um, oh my God, I forgot his name, but it doesn't matter. So what we're going through now is a reset, a global reset, which will determine who the new powers will be. For us, on our side, we do our part by making sure the midterm elections go through, and that we are back in good grace with the global community. Um, so, but getting back to Palestine, I mean, like, how did you feel when you left?
Oh, I'll, before that, I'll just say like one thing
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
I think there's a clear difference between Israel and Jews, right? I
right.
think the fight for liberation for Palestine, like there isn't a lot of room like for anti-Semitism. I
All
think,
right, let me make this clear. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, no, yeah, of course.
When I meant Jews, that was a statement that he made. He really meant Israel and the
Yes.
Israeli lobby. I apologize about that because, like, look, this is also how I feel about humanity.
Mm. Hmm.
Okay, and I'm trying not to say no curse words. Okay,
Yeah.
um, everybody has their negative people and their positive people.
Hmm.
Okay, I am not divisive. I have New York has an amazing, beautiful Jewish community here.
Yeah.
We love them. They don't they in fact it was Jewish people that taught me the difference between Judaism and Zionism because
Yeah.
I thought it was the same, but I was young when, so I wanted to make that clear. It is not the whole group of people. Myself as a minority person, as a black person, a mixed color, that would be ridiculous to even
Mm.
think that way. Okay, so I wanted to make that clear. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that's really that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
fully support that, and I think it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah. No, it's the assholes. We all have
yeah,
assholes in our group,
yeah,
and I'm tired of it.
yeah.
Okay, really. And it's not Trump I'm blaming. It's everybody that is supporting him,
Yeah.
including the voters. Okay, they're the ones that initiated all this nonsense. So go ahead. I apologize.
Like Hebron, one of like the most militarized parts of the West Bank that have a ton of settlers. Like the largest donors to support the violence in Hebron came from the Hebron Fund in the US. It is our money that's making Israel possible. So
Hmm.
how did I leave? How did I feel about leaving? I think I felt a few things. I felt deeply inadequate that I've seen and been given the opportunity to see and experience and hear the stories of Palestinian people. And I felt like, how am I going to come back and like really tell that story? And I've tried really hard to like consciously make an effort to tell the story, to bear witness whenever the opportunity presents itself. I felt really, I don't even know if sad is the right word, right? I felt sick to my stomach to know that I'm going to get on a plane and not fear for my life. I'm going to get on a plane, and the only thing that like I'm really facing upon my return is people saying like, oh, like you don't really care about justice, or there's two sides to the story. But I'm leaving behind a people who are daily having to wake up, fight for their land, fight for their lives, fight for their children.
Mm-hmm.
But the ask was simple: tell the story and ask people to visit. And so like those who are watching, like now that you've heard the story, go and visit, go and put your feet on the ground, feel that earth, feel the stones being smoothed by millions of people having walked there, and then
Mm-hmm.
stand in solidarity.
Well, we are praying for the people of Palestine. I've done a lot of research where it left me like 2 weeks depressed, where I had to stay off. The one scene that stays in my head is the little girl walking through the fire when her school was bombed. So, and God knows, oh no, there's so many more. But it's horrific what's going on over there. It's kind of like, damn, we just had. You would think from people that went through that, why would they do it to another people?
All right.
That and it's the administration. But then on the other hand too, we've seen a lot of footage of normal Israelis, very pro-Israel, very anti-Palestinian.
Yeah.
In fact, if that was going on over here, whoa, it would be like back to the 1960s and 50s again.
Right.
So we as Americans understand what's going on out here, and we realize now we have to vote for the people who look out not only for our interests, but just for the global majority as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's for me, this time is like, I'm very concerned about my grandchild, his adulthood, what he's going to be going through, my kids, my two daughters,
Mm-hmm.
what they're going to go through. I'm so glad I raised, you know, a, independent, aggressive women.
Yeah.
um, they're not victims. They refuse to even do that. So I love that. And they're very vocal. Um, so what is going to be going on in the future with you? Uh, Reverend Gerlyn, what's going on with the Anglican Church? Say, if I go up there and visit, do y'all have barbecues? You
Oh,
know, or do I have to go up there and barbecue for y'all? Let me know. I'll make it happen.
all right. What is the future of me and the church? I think the future of the church is bright. We are a declining church because, like, I think because of our sins and the ways that we've become irrelevant in some ways. But I
Hmm.
think the future is still bright. I think there is a renewal in the church because of young people, especially, who are asking questions, who are probing us to be more relevant, and because of progressive theology. I think the Bible and the church is a really good, safe space to be. We just have to reclaim that message again.
Hmm.
Personally,
Hmm.
what's going on with me? A couple of cool opportunities. I'm doing a Palestine series online, and I'd hoped that it
Mm.
would reach 1 million people with 15 videos, and I'm on video 9, and we're already like at 2.3 million, which
Oh,
is
okay.
so good. It shows that people are yearning to listen to the stories, and I feel like that fear I had that I wouldn't be able to tell the story sufficiently, I'm like living into it, and it's working out. What else is happening? I'm going to Turkey in a few weeks as part of a Global South conference on anti-Zionism in
Hmm.
Asia, which is kind of
Hmm.
like my first influencer trip.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's really cool that that's like for Palestine.
Oh man, that's beautiful. Well, I definitely want to have the podcast be involved in that and helping you, get the word out. So all you have to do is just let me know, and I'll put it on my website and make sure people get to it, because I'm developing a very strong network of people, advocates, activists, good-hearted people, like-minded people that want to be able to change the world for the better. Simple as that. Nothing crazy. The podcast itself is a very inclusive platform. You can be far right, far left, just don't be crazy, and talk facts,
Yeah.
and speak facts, and we maybe can come to a medium. But I do want to just thank you so much for taking the time out and finishing our part two, which I thought was a great interview. I loved it.
Thank you for
Um,
the
and
invitation.
and I want to, talk more about it. In fact, we can exclusively talk about what you're doing, the Palestine documentary that you're doing as well.
Okay.
I really want to continue our conversation, and please let the people know up there and your neighbors. We down here trying to stop this man. Relax, just pray for us as we pray
Yeah.
for you. You
Will do.
know, and I just hope the world works for the better. That's all. So, thank you so much, Reverend Gerlyn.
Thank you. This was the first pro marijuana platform I've been invited to, and I was a
Really?
little nervy, but I'm so glad we got to do it.
No, if you have a couple of minutes, we can chat.
Yeah, I do.
Um, you know, the stigmatism around cannabis is, of course, through again a racist and white supremacist ideology. Okay, um, and also too, uh, it was also a commodity that competed against too many other industries, right? So to let everyone know, I'll put it to you this way.
Okay.
I went last year to a function that was held at a place that was very nervous about having this cannabis event there. By the end of the event, I asked the lady, because I hosted a podcast there, and I asked the lady, um, how do you feel about now having cannabis events? She said, I would prefer to have a cannabis event than any event deals with alcohol. Do you know how much vomit we have to clean up in the back? It's ridiculous. You people left the place cleaner. And she even pointed to the guy that's cleaning. He's trying to look for where he's got to clean, and
Yeah.
we were so laid back and relaxed, and the music was nice. If the world did cannabis, oh my God, instead of alcohol,
Oh.
oh Lord, y'all would be happy. Oh yeah, oh man. So, you know, and plus I want my guests to be comfortable. I don't want you to feel your image is out there. There has to be respect. There are other questions I wanted to ask that I think that were appropriate, regarding the Anglican Church and its history.
Mhm.
Because I'm seeing the good that you're doing. I'm seeing, go to her post, guys. Oh my God, it's at Gerlyn Henry, correct? On IG.
Yeah.
And you see her post, and it's just a bright day.
Yeah.
It's a bright day. You're giving people solid spiritual messages. You're not preaching. You're just delivering a message. You're hanging out with people. You're a beautiful looking person, thank God.
Yeah.
No, not that, and that's another thing too. We are image driven as well,
Mhm.
right? So, which is bad, I think, in some cases, because we need to open our minds more to others.
Mm.
But you just deliver your poster are good daily affirmations.
Good. Good. Thank you.
Okay.
Share a quick
Um,
story before I go.
yes,
Yeah.
please.
So cannabis is legal in Canada. It became legal, I think, 6, 7 years ago.
Hmm.
And right across from where I live, so I live in the church rectory, and right across, 200 meters away, we have a weed shop, right? And when I go, I don't ever go in my collar. I usually have a hoodie on or whatever. I'm just dressed like a regular person. And I
Hmm.
remember this one time, I walk in and I see in the store somebody else who comes to a lot of my church events.
Hmm.
Right? And I'm immediately feeling a little anxious, right? Just in myself. I'm like, oh gosh. And he's not he's not a big talker, but he like shadow boxes a lot. For some reason, he just like punches the air. And it was making everybody in the store nervous that like
Mm-hmm.
he was there and he was like shadow boxing. And I had this like dilemma, right? Do I like disclose to this cannabis shop that I am the Anglican priest and I know this guy and he's harmless? Or do I just let them look at him like he's a stranger and ask him to leave? And it took me like my own courage and a lot of my own like nervousness to like go up and say, "Oh, I know him. I'm the priest across the street." And they're like, "Oh, you're the priest." And like to like wrestle with this image of like, do clergy do weed? And like at least this one does, right? And like to have that moment of authenticity, and all he did was like looked at me and he just like nodded, and then he bought his weed and left. And it was this moment I like still hold as a moment of my own repentance and like
Mm-hmm.
my authenticity, that I could have abandoned him for my image, but like I worked through the worry and
You
like
see, that makes you a better person, man. Yeah, I love that. I love that. You see that we need. I know there are people out there. We need more exposure of people like us.
yeah, yeah,
You understand? And I just think that that's why all the people I've invited on the podcast, and it's been predominantly women.
oh
Um, yeah, it's really awesome, really. But the, their energy, their message, it just exudes. We need more of this, for
yeah,
me,
yeah.
you know. And with well, there were some funny questions I wanted to ask you. Well, it was a question that was posed last on the last show that I didn't get around to from a couple of them from people that were watching.
Okay.
Um, they saw that you were wearing a wedding ring, so you could be married.
Yes, Anglicans can marry.
Okay, right. Okay, okay. And do you have kids?
No, we do not have kids.
All right. So will you be having? Because as a grandparent, I want to see some children.
You should talk to my dad because he wants
Yeah,
children,
yeah,
but we're still discerning if that's right for us.
yeah. I understand. We're not putting no pressure on you or nothing, but I'm gonna call your parents and say, put pressure, put pressure.
Oh,
Shit,
every
this
week.
the ideology alone. We need to. She's gonna raise some kids. They're gonna have some good kids. We need more great parents because we got some ghetto parents out here right now,
Yeah.
all across the board. But I wanted to talk to you about one thing. Oh my God.
Okay.
Um, it was it was a documentary I saw about India and how dispassionate its society can be
Mm,
towards the poor, the young, why people leave or I just saw it. I didn't do any. It was more from an emotional standpoint. Were you raised here or in India, in Canada or in India?
I was in India till age 6, and then I came to
Hmm.
Canada, but then went back as a teenager for a while. And
Okay.
I really struggled with that, like the lack of empathy and compassion for people. Um, is your question like why is that the case? You think?
Yeah, yeah. Why is that the case? Because I mean, like, I've never been there and I
Mm,
want to travel the world. I would love to see different places, different cultures, understand. I don't want to have any misconceived notions or judgments, anything, because happens in the world.
yeah.
But why do you think that is?
Okay. I think I'll answer that in like a threefold. One
Okay.
is like systemically and governmentally, there isn't a basic standard of living. There isn't a minimum wage. And so like people could work for a whole day and leave with like $2. And because there's no
Hmm.
like standardization. And so once you're in a cycle of poverty, it's very, very difficult to come out of that cycle. And on top of that, and so when you have kids, like they also have to like pay for school, and so they can't pay for school with $2 a day. And so like it's a cycle of poverty. So that's one. There isn't like a governmental standard of living. On top of that, there's a system of caste which segregates people based on
Mm.
their birth. And you can identify someone's caste very easily by their accent and their last name. And so when someone, I remember one time when I was a teenager, this person asked me about my dad. And so like I kind of told them. And immediately he stopped touching me. Like, just, he wouldn't touch the salt on the table that I had just touched because he felt defiled it. Because he recognized, oh, like, this person with this last name must be this caste, and I'm above them, so I won't touch her anymore. And it was my first, like, realization that caste permeates every part of your world. And so if he can't touch the salt that I just touched or chose not to, then, like, we have two options. Either I stop touching the salt and, like, remove myself, or he sets up private space without me, which takes away any opportunity I have for growth. That's two, the caste system. And three, I think it's the wealth disparity. Once you're that rich, you stop seeing people for people. They only become products who serve you or are served by you. Like, we have massive buildings right next to slums. And I think we see some of that in, like, here in the West, like neighborhoods that are vastly wealthy right next to neighborhoods that are very poor. And you just, like, cross over a 2-minute drive, a 10-minute drive, and you see that disparity. And people sometimes just stop recognizing that they exist when they're within their silos of worlds. I don't have a comprehensive answer, like, but
No, I think the answer that you gave was more than enough for people to continue the conversation and to learn more about societies that have. We have a caste system. It's called class,
yeah,
right?
race.
So,
Yeah.
and it's pervasive all over the world because you know it's just, well, the next generations are going to have to deal with it because we can't change it right now, but make we can inform them and let them know it's bullshit, it's BS. It's, you are just as capable as anyone else. I told my daughter wanted to get into, my oldest daughter wanted to get into medicine, and I looked at her deeply in her eyes and I said, honey, pick something else because you don't have the brains for that. She doesn't. I'm truthful. I want you to follow your path, but let's be realistic about what path you're walking. Because one, you never studied science. Where's the heart? She picked the right side. Stuff like that. So it's like, let's think of something. I said you would be great as an MMA boxer or fighter in the female division. My youngest would be like the new Oprah, straight up, but real, because she'll throw it in your face. So one's a psychological killer, the other one is a physical killer.
Okay.
So, well, it was due to a lot of what my mother went through, and I didn't want to have daughters to grow up with that. And yes, you may laugh because it's funny as hell when I look back on it. I'm blessed to be here right now. I went through 3 years of homelessness between 2016 and 2019.
Oh, wow.
I was in the shelter for a year, and I was able to get a beautiful home. But it's unfortunate that I live in a society where I have to go through that to live in peace. And we have enough resources on this planet, and regenerative and sustainable resources to feed everyone. So I hope the age of greed is dying out, or at least waning. I'm just looking for a very positive future. I can't be a pessimist. I have to be optimistic about what we could do to change. So we're definitely going to continue this conversation. I want to know more about the Palestinian documentary. We want to be able to show people what you're doing. And I appreciate you for taking the time for being with me today. I really do.
For the invitation. Glad to.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, and where can people contact you if they want to reach out?
Online, it's at Gerlyn Henry on Instagram.
Instagram.
On TikTok, it's Reverend Rev.Gerlyn. And then if you want to reach out to my parish, if you're in Toronto and you're looking for a church, it's called Holy Wisdom in Scarborough.
Okay, definitely. I hope to get up there one day. How far? Wait a minute. So where? Oh, in Toronto. Yeah, I know where it is. All right, I can go straight up. Right, I got it. All right, I'm in New York, so I'm trying to figure out the highway.
Oh, we're gonna drive over. Okay.
I'm driving. Yeah, I would drive. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you, love. Have a great evening. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon.
I look forward to it. Bye.
Thank you. Hey, everybody, I got to tell you, that was a great interview. Speaking with this beautiful lady, she is probably one of the uh, nicest people and realest people I've met this year, starting the new year off. I do want to be able to give shout outs to my sponsor and show you some great commercials. So we'll be right back. At Proteus 420, they provide high quality services and educational resources to support your growth and help you thrive in the cannabis community. Efficient inventory management ensures you maintain a reliable product supply and avoid stock shortages. Their point of sale service tracks sales activity, helping you identify best sellers, top employees, and valuable customers. Stay compliant with built-in reporting, alerting you to the latest state and local regulations. With payment processing, accept payments seamlessly across various methods, including cash and debit. Their customer relation management system builds loyalty, ensuring tailored offerings for repeat business. Proteus 420, empowering your cannabis business for success.
For too long, cannabis branding relied on outdated stereotypes. We're here to change that. Jadestone is a woman-owned, strategy-first creative agency, building brands that stand out, resonate, and perform. With white glove service and meticulous attention to detail, we transform ideas into bold identities and memorable experiences. From brand strategy and visual identity to packaging and dispensary design, every touchpoint is intentional, refined, and crafted to make your brand unforgettable. Let's create something extraordinary together.
Hey, everybody, we're back. Big shout out to my man, Sohan's Silk Road, 166-30 Jamaica Avenue in Queens. I hope you all are doing well today. Yeah, we had a great show with Reverend Gerlyn Henry. I was saying Gerlyn, it's Gerlyn Henry, as in Berlin, and she's a priest of the Anglican Church of Canada, and it's it's it was a great interview. I really enjoyed it. But I do want to say that tomorrow we'll be at Silk Road, 166-30 Jamaica Avenue, hosting a special birthday podcast. My special guest will be Lola Bastinado, Brooklyn botanist, and Megan O'Malley. She is with the Bake Sales Session podcast. Also, from what I understand, an upstanding comedian. So I'm looking forward to talking with both of them. We'll be over there. Everyone is invited to come. The link is on Partyful. I should have had that posted up here, but the link's on Partyful. And you look for the OG Papa Duke's birthday podcast. It's going to be pretty cool. Tomorrow we'll be there from 6 to 10. Show starts at 6:20, and then I just go right in, do about an hour and a half, speak to some great guests, talk some announcements. We have a lot going on, so I am so looking forward to it. And for those of you that had questions or were on like you're live and wanted to ask questions, please forgive me. I don't have a moderator to be able to get the questions to me, and I need multiple screens, at least one more. And it's very difficult to do that. So, but I will be able to set up where you can use the StreamYard link, come online and be a part of the audience and ask questions from there. Also, too, the OGSocialNetwork.com, we have put up new blogs and interviews, also on YouTube. Subscribe, please. I can use your help. I also have a GoFundMe going on. The OG Social Network Podcast has a GoFundMe. We want to get $50,000 in 6 months for operations and take care of this podcast. There are expenses to this, subscriptions, people need to be paid, and I want to be able to do that, pay everybody. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. I definitely want to give a big to be able to prepare for this. Tomorrow, I'm preparing for our next show, tonight for tomorrow. So I hope to see you all at High Function Events at Silk Road, NYC at 166-30 Jamaica Avenue in Jamaica, Queens. Again, thank you all so much. It was definitely a good show. I gotta say, y'all, we're gonna be moving forward. Things are gonna get better. Be at peace. I will be putting out more shorts regarding ICE, regarding the incidents that's going on in our country. Remember, midterms are coming up. Remember, we have to keep fighting. We have to keep pushing. Keep an eye out for my anti-APAC campaigns, for all type of campaigns I'm pushing out right now. I will talk to y'all soon. Peace and love, and I love you. Bye.